You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kerbison, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerbison, joined with Reed Bacon. Got another great one today. We are discussing the orange and white game, talking about specific players that we really liked and their impressive games that they had. But before we get into any of that, if you guys are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Leave us a comment. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download, and follow us on all those listening platforms that you have. Also follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon on Twitter for our main account. Also on Instagram, Pancakes and Bacon _RTI. Then you can follow Reed on Twitter at rbacon26. You can follow me on all social medias at Kyler Kerbison. But yeah, let's jump on into this podcast. All right. Welcome in, everybody. Got another great podcast for you. We're talking orange and white game. But before we get into all the nitty gritty of that, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Kyler. Happy Monday. I'm okay with you saying great pod today.
Good.
We haven't recorded it yet. We're starting, but I know that I feel very confident. I have some nuggets that I really, really like, more than I expected when rewatching this. I would just suggest you all, you don't have to have played football. You don't have to have coached or been around good coaches or being around other good players that have taught you how to watch film. But just go back and just pick certain players that you want to know how they did, and just go literally grab. So I have my iPad and just go back and watch the plays over and stop them and start them and just watch your players that you like and want to learn about. It'll tell you so much without even really having to know football. And I wish that they would make, which this is never going to happen, but in Reed's world, it would be so great if there was a stipulation for if you to own a radio, or if you to be on a radio show, or you to be a talking head, that you have to rewatch the game, the respective game you're talking about. It is beyond frustration for me when I listen to people. It's okay if you don't know what you're talking about. Just don't act like you do. I don't go around talking about politics. I don't go around talking about the medical field. I don't go around talking about other stuff. Like, if I don't know it, just keep your mouth shut. It's just unfortunate that I hear people saying stuff that they don't really know. I'm off my soapbox. I do really have some good stuff that I'm happy about. And I do get caught up in the numbers because this is a numbers game. I'm always looking at how many views and listens. I really, really hope this gets a lot of views, because I think it's going to be legitimately top of the stuff that you've heard all spring.
Yeah, here, I'll try and help you out. I'll put highlights in the title. I'll put let's see, Nico in the title. I'll put Cam Seldon in the title.
Everything
that should get us a ton of views.
Everything for clickbait.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll put a big fake ass on the picture, and then everyone will click on it. You know, it's about Tennessee podcast.
Oh God, yeah. We just get some bimbo female that's half dressed that's on there, and guys are just gonna click. That's the one thing that you and I are not good at, is the clickbait. Get people to click, and then it's a bunch of non-bull crap. We literally we try to be so good with our substance.
I'm just trying to make the best thumbnail possible. I'm trying to put little touches in there, nice little pictures. I want to get our pretty faces on there.
There you go. How was your weekend?
It was good. Went into Knoxville, but wasn't able to go to the game. Went into Knoxville. There was Josh Dobbs' golf charity event. for the Astro Dobbs Foundation, this is the second year doing it. A blast, an absolute blast. It's fun every single time. Getting to play nice 18 holes at Tennessee National. So love that. I had about 5 shots that I liked, and then all the rest were not too hot. Also played with a guy who was like a scratch golfer pretty much. Like he was in the 4-person like group. And there was literally a stretch right after we passed the tequila tent, and he had like 2 shots and a drink. He had 4 birdies in a row by himself. And I was like, great, dude. Like, I'm just trying to get my 4-iron to go straight. Like,
right.
That's it. So anyways, it was still a lot of fun. Still great to see all those guys. And then a fellow VFL, another offensive lineman, Brett Kendrick, got married this weekend. So went to that wedding. That was on Saturday. Started at 5. Game was at 2:30. So it was very like tough to try and do both. So voted for Brett's wedding instead of the game. And it was awesome. Got to see Coach Mo, my old line coach. Got to see a bunch of ex-players. First time I've seen Ja'Shawn Robinson in forever. Saw Trey. Got to talk to him. Saw Cam Sutton. Haven't seen him in a while. And it was great. Like literally just reminiscing on playing days and talking about plays that had happened during certain games and talking about like how tired we were, how crazy this person was. It was so funny. Coleman Thomas was there. He shared a story about Dylan Wiseman in the Texas A&M game. If you go back and watch when we played Texas A&M at Texas A&M 2016, Dylan goes out. He's the starting center to start the game. He goes out of the game probably like 15 plays in. If you go back and watch, Dobbs takes off on a scramble and is running downfield, and Dylan is running after him. He literally sees a guy coming from the side to hit Dobbs. He runs and dives over the pile and takes a direct hit to the side of the head from that DB so that Dobbs wouldn't take it, and it knocks him out. Completely knocks him out. He's out for the rest of the game, goes into the locker room, and Coleman said he had to play center the rest of the game. After the game, it was a heartbreaker. They went into overtime and still lost. After the game, Coleman said he went into the training room and saw Dylan there, pitch black in there, no lights on. So he walked up to him and was like, hey, sorry, like we didn't pull it out. And Dylan just went, what? Like that, just stared at him. I was like, what? Yeah. And then so Coleman was like, I'll talk to you later.
Bro was in a different
different stratosphere.
Dylan played really hard though. That's
my gosh, dude.
I remember that play. I remember that game when he got rocked. But hey, that's the life of an offensive lineman. You boys are there to protect us.
That's right. That was Dylan's number one goal. He did not care about himself at all.
Well, that's good. No, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I know that some of the individuals did go to the game and then made it to the wedding, but they maybe did not make it there for the ceremony. So kudos to you for being a good friend. So
yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know what else that happened this weekend is you got your Rocky Top Insider gear. You and I went and dropped it off at your mother-in-law's house. I'm not wearing mine because I wore both of them over the weekend. They're dirty. This is a alumni haul buy from a couple weeks ago that I love it. But yeah, it was funny. I went to your mother-in-law's house, dropped your Rocky Top Insider swag. Then I took an entire trash bag of all your swag from your years at UT. Obviously, you kept a few things that you like, but we went through it. I went through it last week, and it was hilarious going through some of that stuff. You actually had a Houston Texans shirt in there from your time with them, your Tampa Bay Bucs shirt. What's the most crazy is that the 2X stuff fits me. Like in the chest and the shoulders and stuff, I'm like, this isn't good. Like I gotta loosen up. Now it's still a little long for me, but legitimately, there's some things that I can wear in public and it's not gonna look ridiculous. Some of those I can't wear into 3Xs, but
You can give those as sleep shirts.
Yeah,
to somebody.
I will. Well, if I wore clothes when I slept, but but
you
no,
have to share everything on the podcast, Reed.
I'm very open and honest. I like it. I like everything to be nice, cool and free when I'm sleeping. But I will be pulling out some of that swag on the pod when I'm not wearing my Rocky Top Insider stuff.
Love it. Yeah, some of that stuff was like, I'm a Titans fan, so it's like a Houston shirt.
Yeah. Oh, immediately get rid of. I
don't know if I'm gonna wear it. And then also I'm a Titans fan, and like I'm not like in love with Tampa, so I have like a hoodie and a t-shirt. I think 2 t-shirts here that are like okay, good workout shirts, but all the rest I'm just like, I'm not gonna wear this around.
Well, so Tampa, like I definitely will wear team stuff that's not my team's. When I used to go to like the Nike clearance store in Lebanon and would get I have a long sleeve dry fit, Kansas City Chiefs or New York Jets or different stuff, and I'll wear it around the house or to go work out in. I have an LSU. It was an $8 LSU Nike dry fit. The shirt is sick. It's just a white, got the LSU here and the Nike here. Obviously, I'm never going to wear that out, but I love wearing it around the house or something like that. So you can find some good stuff. I did get rid of the Houston Texans shirt, and I'll rock the Tampa Bay one like around,
Yeah. It was also very awkward because my path in the NFL, the first team that I went and tried out for was Houston and then New Orleans. So I got like 2 things from there. Then the first team I signed with was the Patriots, then signed with Tampa, then signed in the CFL. But literally the year I signed with the Patriots, they won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. So then all my Patriots gear, it was like kind of awkward because people would be like, oh, he's a Patriots fan. They just won the Super Bowl. And like try and maybe have a conversation with me about the Patriots. And I'm like, I don't fucking like the Patriots. I actually hate them. I've grown up hating them. So, and then a year later, Tom Brady moves down to Tampa, and Tampa wins the fucking Super Bowl. And I got Tampa shit. And people were like, oh, you a Tampa Bay fan? I'm like, no, I'm not.
Are you the biggest
fired me, so I don't like them.
Are you the biggest front runner we know? Do we need to get?
I know. It's just weird because it's like, oh yeah, Tampa won. I'm like, sorry, this is just a shirt. Like, I don't like them at all.
Sorry, I was on their roster for a year. I don't actually like them.
And then it's like, no, I wasn't there when Tom Brady played, but I actually did play with Tom Brady the year before at the Patriot. But it's like very odd.
He got his hand all up in my butt
and all up in my gooch.
I had a nice weekend, so I went to Memphis. Man, I miss my Memphis crew. I hadn't seen them since Christmas, which usually doesn't happen. I'm seeing them maybe a month or 2 goes by. But it had been since Christmas. I obviously don't go down there as much now that I'm in Knoxville compared to when I was in Nashville. Nashville, 3-hour drive, no big deal. 6-hour drive, man, it can get to you. But I wanted to go down there and see him. It was a huge weekend because Lee, one of my cousins, aka like a younger sister to me, graduated from law school, but she passed the bar exam, and that was a huge deal. So kudos to her. Nice. She's getting sworn in next week, so it was a celebration weekend. But then her husband, Austin, is going to be graduating with his MBA in a couple weeks, and then Bailey, which is Liz's husband, has his birthday today, and so it's kind of like a good celebration weekend.
Yeah.
I thought about going to the Grizz game. We decided not to because we played golf in the morning and then had Bailey's birthday dinner that night. I would have liked to have gone and seen the Grizz. Tough loss. So I'm glad I'm not in the building because there was a lot of Lakers fans and I would have been pretty pissed. But it was,
Reed might have got kicked off the pod for disorderly conduct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was frustrated just watching on TV. So when I knew the game was over, I was like, screw this. I'm going upstairs.
That series might be over if Jaws out.
I'm telling you, watch out. I almost guarantee the Grizz will win tomorrow night. That's just how they are. They've played a lot of ball without Ja. Tyus Jones could could be a starter for other teams. He's great, but it's the series. Yeah, might be over, but it won't be like a sweep or anything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. And like I said, today on the ride home, I drove most of the way, and then my mom drove some so that I could jump into this. Let's dive into it.
Yeah.
I didn't do offense, defense. I kind of just watched it and took notes as I went. Go ahead and start. I'll let you go for a few minutes, and then I'll kind of piggyback, and we'll just kind of go a little back and forth.
Yeah, I guess we'll just kind of go back and forth. The first thing I tried to pay attention to was who was playing on the offensive line, because that's what I always do. And that starting group had John Campbell at tackle, with Mincy in the next group. I'm not going to say this tells us exactly who's going to play, but it does tell me that John Campbell's been stepping up in practice, that he's been doing some good things, and they trust him enough, and they want to see him out there with maybe the ones. If you have a solidified guard or center and you're like, I want to see what this tackle looks like next to him, that's what you would do. So whether Mincy starts or John Campbell starts, I'm a happy camper, because it tells me that guy's the best, that he had to compete against the other one, and Jeremiah being the same thing. And it also tells me if he were to go down, there's a guy behind him who can step in. So those are great things. I liked that I saw Addison Nichols playing guard some. I like that it wasn't all just center.
Let me jump in real quick and piggyback. So I tried not to get into who was starting, who was not starting with the offensive line, because you never know what they're just trying and playing. I don't want to get into that stuff right now, me personally. We'll have a better idea of that once we go to summer camp, aka fall camp, which will be a week or two out of before the first game, maybe 3 weeks, depending on what part of camp we go to. I texted you about Addison Nichols because all we saw at practice today, we went was basically center, and we were hearing that he was playing a lot of center.
And that's all he did last year too.
When he went in at guard, I immediately locked in, and that's when I was watching the game, and I texted you. I didn't know where you were with getting ready for Brett's wedding and stuff like that. 3 plays in a row. I'm not trying to jump in and steal your thunder, but 3 plays in a row. They ran behind him, nice block. He pulled on the second one, and he did well. And third one, he had a nice pass pro. And then I saw him later in the game. I thought he looked really good at guard, and I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, I love him interior. Like, I think it's great for him and his body type. If he plays all 3, he is Jerome. You know what I mean? Like, just able to do all 3, smart enough to do all 3, can lead from every position. There's times where a guard knows what's going on more than a center or more than a tackle next to him. And he might have to be the one to say, hey, no. This is not an odd front. It's an even front. That guy's standing up. We have to count him. Actually, deuce there. Don't ace. And, adjust things. So you need to know everything. Everybody in the interior needs to know every position. Sometimes tackles can get away with just knowing what they need to do because they're on islands all the time. But those interior guys need to piggyback off each other.
Well, you got to think. You have to think about, like you mentioned, tackles are on an island, and if they got some dog over front of them, they're really, really more focused on that one-on-one battle. The center is more focused on get the ball, get everyone lined up, get the snap, all that. Those guards are slightly more free, especially if they don't have anyone head up on them.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point that you bring up.
Sometimes guards can see a blitz coming before a tackle can.
Yeah.
If it's like an odd front or bare front and they don't have anybody over them. So got to keep those eyes open. So, yeah, I love that. I saw Andres Carrick at guard too, which was nice to see. I thought he played well. I think we said when we went to practice that he didn't necessarily seem the strongest guy out there. But I thought he played decent. I wasn't upset at all by his play. So enough of the offensive line talk. There we go. Obviously the first play, they take a shot to Jacob Warren, and Joe overthrows it. I think there was a legit theme with Joe throughout the game where it went shot play, miss. Every other play, I don't want to miss, or I don't want to overthrow, or I don't want to maybe put it in something. So he doesn't. He gets sacked multiple times. Then I think coaches went up to him and go, hey, it's a damn spring game. Just throw the ball. And then we see the throw to Caleb Webb later down the sideline in double coverage, and it's caught. And it's like, don't think so much, Joe. Just let it go, bro. Like, it's man coverage. Trust the fact that the safety is not going to get to your ball. Like, get it out there.
Great point. I would have loved to have seen the ball completed to Jacob. It's almost this awkwardness for everyone involved in the stands, watching on TV, in Joe's head, and it all stems from the Pittsburgh game when he basically loses his job, and it's tough for that to be the knock, because then you are thinking about it when it happens, and it's first play of the game. It's like, do we want to bring it up? Do we want to remember what we saw?
Guys are in the stands going, where the hell's Nico at?
Yeah, for sure. Don't overreact to it. I'm just saying it's one of those awkward things that kind of stinks. And it'll probably just stick with him unless he goes out and has a great year and doesn't really affect him. So I would have loved to have seen that shot completed. I will say my favorite play of Joe's, and I thought it was a fantastic ball. Everyone's talking about Nico's rollout throw to Ethan, which we will get to that. It was fantastic.
Very impressive.
Very, very impressive. But we'll get there. We'll get there. My favorite, and I'm scrolling through these notes. I didn't write them down. I had to put them on the phone. Okay, so it's second quarter, 5:44. It looks like there's when I watched this, I legitimately thought that it was like a screen that was getting set up, but then I went and watched and it wasn't. There was terrible communication between Lampley and the right tackle. I don't know whose fault it was, but someone comes just butt naked, straight free rusher. That's what made me think they were letting him go, and I rewatched it. Joe buys some time, and he's kind of rolling out to his right, and he throws a beautiful, beautiful ball to Castle, the tight end, in the middle of the field. Now, Caleb Perry, the second-year linebacker, actually did a damn good job of picking it up, because Castle started back in an H-back position. He works his way up through the offensive defensive line, and Caleb's sitting in there and waiting on him. The only mistake Caleb makes is gets very handsy. You can use those hands right when he gets to you, get a little grab, turn and run, because Caleb can move, but he had really good coverage. He just got handsy again when the ball was getting there. But if you go back and watch that was a hell of a job and a great, great pass to put it kind of up high and away from Caleb and the defender. And I also went back and watched. I said, let me see if there's a safety, in that vicinity. And I didn't see a safety. And it was like Joe knew that. And it's like, that's why he took the shot. Those are the throws that they weren't complete. There was a pass interference call that maybe people won't talk about because it's going to be all overshadowed by his throw to Caleb Perry or the Nico throw to Ethan. The Caleb Perry throw, Caleb Webb throw, I thought it was fine. I thought it was a better catch than it was a throw.
I agree.
But it goes all into your point of, like, you got to let your playmakers make a play. It's no one's really – there's times that guys aren't going to be open. Now, last year, it doesn't go well for my argument because a lot of those times Jalen or Brewer, those guys were open and it's just hit them. But I think there was a little bit of, like, Hendon understanding the speed of his wide receivers and throwing it deep enough where safety couldn't make the angle to get over there. Sure, throw them open.
And Joe can do that very easily. I just don't think he tries to do it all the time. Mm-hmm. I think there is some instances where he feels like he's got that awkwardness on him. Like, I don't want to overthrow this person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. I mean, I've played sports. I remember them when I had stuff in the back of my head, certain things. You can't play that way, but it's hard. It's a lot, easier said than done to say, hey, don't play that way. Yeah. I will tell you this, though, which I haven't heard anyone mention. That was on Gabe Judy, and Tamarion McDonald was at safety. So Tamarion's going to be a starter. Gabe is a potential person. And Gabe had press coverage, and he just got beat off the line because he didn't get hands on Caleb. And Caleb runs basically right by him. Yes, if the ball's out there a little bit more, he can probably run under it, but he has to stop for it. He makes a good contested catch, which you have to do. But that's on Tamarion at safety and Gabe Judy. And it was the same thing that we saw at practice and on Gabe's film. He looks good. He runs well. He gets beat. He used his speed to catch back up, and then I thought it could potentially been a PI. Yeah. How he ran into
it. Especially with Webb coming back.
Right, and he doesn't make a play on the ball. So that's one of those things for Gabe. It's like he has all the tools, but does he ever put it together? I don't know. I just didn't want it to get overshadowed by, hey, good play, but don't he wasn't on the third string. I mean, this is a starter and a guy fighting for a spot.
Yeah. If we go back a little bit in that first drive, Danico Slaughter causing the 3-and-out. I mean, just man coverage on the guy, stayed on him on the post, right on his freaking back, and then undercuts him through.
Well, so I 1,000.
Well, not under. I guess it's over.
No,
I don't even know how you describe that.
I 100% have this play. It was the dig route, and it was great. As I always say, hit pocket by Danico. Unbelievable. And Danico's pressed. He gets hands on him. He also has been around the program. He knows when this is an in-breaking route, it's a dig. It was not a post. It was a dig. And it was actually a good route by Caleb. He got up and he got it across. These are the plays that Caleb has to make, just like he made on the deep one, which this is before it, that he has to make to separate himself where he is. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be a good player or can be a good player at the University of Tennessee. That means you have Squirrel White, Ramel Keaton, Brew McCoy, and Dante Thornton in front of you. Yeah. If you're going to break into playing this year, when you got a really good defender on your hip pocket and on your back, however you got to do it, you got to come up with those catches. But I thought the play by Danico was special. I thought you're pressing – you get hands, you're staying with him the whole time, and you break it up. Yes.
I love that because we've been talking about, Danico at corner, like we really like him. And then it was just like first defensive play that you notice, and it's him.
It was fantastic.
That was beautiful. I really still like the way that Bishop runs the football. And he got a ton of touches at the game. So I still like the way he runs the ball. It was good to see him out there. But the running back who took the show was Cam Seldon. Cam was the one who was like, hey, look what I can do. Literally everything. He is the guy that looks like the one to replace Fant. Where, hey, we're going to put you out there to catch a ball, and then you're going to come into the backfield and run it. And then we're going to put you out there to block, and then you're going to come in the backfield to run it.
You're saying you mean replace him, not necessarily at tight end. You mean as a Swiss Army knife.
As a Swiss Army knife, exactly. Yeah. As the guy where if you have a formation with him at running back, you do not have to rotate someone in and out and then let the defense rotate someone in and out. You keep those same personnel in there, you move him to a different position. That is one of the best things that they could do with Fant, where he's in at tight end when we first go in there. Now he's in the backfield at running back, and we have two. And it's just like, hey, I can move him around wherever. He can take the damn snap if I want him to. So that is one of the best advantages that you can have for an up-tempo offense like we have.
Thank you. And that's what I was about to piggyback and say. For people that want to understand that, it's nice because you can say it's a chess piece. Oh, where the defense has to be okay. Where's he lined up here? Where's he lined up there? You got to account for all that stuff. Yeah, that sounds great, but it's really about mismatches. Football's a lot about mismatches, and if you see a tight end coming in that's on the line of scrimmage, they might have a separate defensive package than if it's a tight end that's split out, and it definitely could be maybe a different package. depending on how many DBs you want in the game or whatever. And you run a couple plays with the tight end in the slot, then you bring him in, then you split him back out. Then he's an H-back, so like a lead blocker or maybe one of the play action dumps, and then he's getting a handoff, and you put a Jabari Small or someone else out at receiver. Whether you're going to throw it to him or not, it's just all those. That's what frustrates a guy like a Kirby Smart or a Nick Saban, because they can't get to the pieces they want to bring in the game to match up with what we're doing because we are going fast. And it's huge.
Yeah, exactly. But again, Seldon catching, bubble screens out on the edge, running the football, catching little hitches from like a tight split, not necessarily lined up at tight end, but he's at a tight split. So he's got the same guy who would cover a tight end over him. But
let me piggyback off that. This is good how we're going. You're just going to bring up certain plays that I've talked about. That was honestly one of my favorite throws from Nico. It's a third. It's a 3rd and 3. They go 5 wide. It's something that you see a lot of the best. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. It's Travis Kelce right there. It's, hey, we're at the 3 yards. Get up, turn around, and just catch it, get the sticks. And so it was great to see Nico realizing that, because there was a free rusher, and it was great to see Cam Seldon, another true freshman, that's like, okay, I get up, I get to the sticks, I catch with my hands, I protect the ball. Yeah. So that was one of my favorite throws and plays, because it was just bang, bang. It's a little thing.
Make it simple.
It looks great when Nico rolls to the right and just God-given talent and places that ball, and it's like, damn, and great catch by Ethan. Great catch by Ethan. I loved seeing that too, but I also want to see the simple things. Make the routine things look routine.
Yeah.
That's what I like to see.
And I think a good example of maybe someone who doesn't make the routine look routine is a Lamar Jackson, where people say like he can make the deep throw and he's freaking explosive, but it's like the easy throws, the little slants, the little hitches that are right there. That's the one where he struggles with.
Yeah. Fantastic point. And some of that might not even be Lamar. Side note, that might not even be Lamar.
That's true. I mean, when you
might not be Lamar's, it might not even be his physical tools, but it's like, where is he looking, or is he getting greedy and saying, yes, I see that, but instead of taking 5, I'm waiting for Mark Andrews to open up at the other end.
Yeah, and it's also, if you leaned everything into your offense of being a running offense, sometimes the pass game suffers.
Sure. So, yeah. Well, you were talking about Cam Seldon. It was nice to see him do a bunch of different things. I personally think the most impressive thing that I saw from him is that he was already decent on some of his pass pro. But when you get a burner like that Cam Miller and John Slaughter both had angles on him and he left them, and you house it from, 25, 30, 35, 40 yards, that's nice to see.
That is nice. I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That's why when we watched this film in high school, I was like, man, him at running back excites the hell out of me. Yeah. Him in the backfield running behind the offensive line is something I'm really looking forward to. But Heupel's like, I need to get the ball in this dude's hands no matter what.
Right.
Because that's who he is. Let's see what else. I like the way that our threes looked. Like the fact that the offense went out there and drove down the field and did a pretty good job. Like it kind of makes you feel good of like, hey, the scout team guys or the guys that aren't starting that are sitting on the bench still do what they need to do. They still practice hard. They still go out there and give a good look. Because sometimes, like, if you don't have anybody in your third string on offense, how in the hell are you going to give your defense a good look of the team you're playing? Vice versa. Sometimes guys got hurt, and we were in scout team when I was at Tennessee, and we had long snappers playing D end because we didn't have enough bodies. And it's like, I'm not getting a look here. Like, what do you want me to take away from this? Like, this isn't helping me towards the game.
That's all about the culture and just building a good program. I mean, you have Deshaun Bishop who decides to walk on with us compared to taking a full ride somewhere else. Or the receiver from Nashville who was a walk on, and he makes. I mean, I think he's a true freshman walk on receiver, and I get it. It's the orange and white game. I'm not telling you he's going to come out and be a starter next year. That's not the case. But the fact that he goes up and makes a super nice hands catch, turns his body and gets 1 foot in bounds. Would you want him giving Kamal Haddon and Danico Slaughter a look, or do you want, some Joe Blow who's a walk-on who wasn't even recruited and just went to try out, and you're in a position where you need tryouts that, hey, come by Anderson training facility and we're going to run you through some tests because we just need bodies. That it's just stacking the culture, stacking the depth and stuff. So it's funny.
I mean, people say it all the time that Alabama has the hardest practices in the country.
Yeah.
That, their practices are harder than their games because of all the competition and all the people they have to play against. It's like, all right, let's do the exact. You think Georgia can say that? Georgia can definitely say that. Their freaking threes came in, beat the shit out of TCU.
Yeah. So
that's what we want too.
Right. No, agreed. We're talking offense. And a guy you haven't mentioned yet, I know you might. He didn't do anything super impressive in this game that I really saw. But something that people want to talk about is Nathan Leacox, catches like the second pass of the game. And on that play, I mean, it's like a 4-yard gain, but something that I took away from that play, they wanted to get the ball in his hands pretty quick, see what he could do. And he made this is a good teaching point. This is where it's great for spring. He catches it. He made the first guy miss. Now, I was actually impressed with the first guy was Caleb Perry. That boy can move. Like, he's got some legs on him, and I thought T-Lander and Arian Carter looked good. Jalen Smith looked good too. But I was impressed. Caleb recognizes and gets out there, and he gets out there fast. But it's a great teaching point because it's like, hey, you're there, and you did slow it down. Yep. Break down a little bit more, make this tackle. So it was kind of like a good v good, like, hey, Nathan, great catch. You made the first guy miss. You got positive yards, and then you can turn around and tell Caleb, great job getting out here fast and recognizing it. You made a pretty good play on it to help other people, and then they made the tackle. But, hey, let's break down a little bit better and make the tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see anything from Nate that you can think of? I mean, that was really the only thing that I took away.
Yeah, that was real. I mean, I know he did have a couple more catches later, but I thought it was good because when we went to practice and we talked about it, Nathan looked good to us. We liked the way Nathan looked, but we never said Nathan's one of the three main guys. But Buddy's just taking his opportunity and running with it. Brew's hurt right now, so who are they going to lean on? And Nathan was like, I'll take that shit. So yeah, I like it. I like to see that he was out there first series with Joe, and Joe throws to him second only because they wanted to set up a play like they did.
And it's not a knock on Chaz and Caleb and the second year guys. Yeah. But if we're seeing Nathan already look like as a true freshman who's been on campus a lot shorter time than those guys, mm-hmm. That's a good thing for him. Maybe not as great for them, but next year's competition for receiver with Ramel leaving, Brew leaving, you think that Squirrel and Dante will still be there. And you never know, like we've talked about on this podcast, you never know who's coming in that door next. Some guy from Ohio Bobcats goes off and some dog receiver, and it's like, hey, you want to come play at the University of Tennessee? He's like, yep, sure. You have to take these opportunities when you get them. So yeah, Nate there was a lot of talk of him at practice.
Speaking of Thornton, did you see his Instagram story went a little viral on Twitter because he was in the bus as they were getting to the stadium. He was like recording all the fans outside and they're all cheering. He's like, God dang, dude, this is a spring game. What the heck? This is a spring game? And like someone's in the background, you don't know who it is, and he goes, that's Knoxville for you, man.
Yeah. It's
you can't get better fans than this.
Right. I mean, and he's not coming from
he's coming from another Power 5 program, Oregon.
Right. Right. He's not coming from Louisiana Tech or, somewhere else. I mean, Buddy's coming from another Power 5.
It's different.
The only thing Jordan Rogers kind of annoyed me when he's like, yeah, the coaches love Dante Thornton. They love how he runs, and they really think that he could even maybe be a replacement for Jalen Hyatt. Similar body types. I'm like, what? Did you read any notes? Similar body types. What are we doing here, Jordan? But I get it. We all make mistakes. I mean, there's names, wrongs, all that different stuff. Talking a little bit about those, and I know we're all over the place. We're not doing But so for defense, tackle pulls, double J shoots, and makes a nice TFL. I'm not sure why you're not blocking double J.
They're obviously setting that play up to read him, and correct. He does the perfect thing where he closes the distance and gets up in the face and makes it almost impossible to read. That's exactly how you have to play it as DN.
Right.
He did it perfectly.
And you never look as good or as big or as athletic in your practice pads and jerseys and stuff. There's just something about it I remember being a Catholic and seeing pictures, or being at Memphis and seeing pictures in our practice uniforms. I'm like, dang. And then you go out in those game uniforms. I remember the first time I saw myself in the game uniforms at Memphis, I was like, dang, I look
like, damn, that dude looks sexy.
I look 1,000 times like better athlete. And so it's funny because Joshua Josephs looked good at practice. And then I see him on TV, in his game day outfit. I'm like, Buddy is looking even more nice than I expected. And he's such a freak athletically. But on that same play, I watched that play, and instead of moving on, I'm like, okay, let's see something else here. T-Lander at linebacker shoots his gun and is snapping necks all day. There were so many times he goes up, and this is actually where he's pulling. It was the pulling tackle was John Campbell. And John Campbell and T-Lander meet, and it's a nice collision. Then Arian Carter does a really good job. He's the other linebacker of kind of shaking and getting through some traffic and meeting in the backfield when Joshua Joseph's there. So seeing that early makes me start noticing it. And rest of the game, basically anytime I see T-Lander in there, he's coming up, shooting his gun. He bodies. I thought Deshaun Bishop and Dylan Sampson did okay putting their heads in there. There was a couple times where they did pretty good on the pass pro. But there were some other times where Arian comes in, blows right by, kind of blows up the play, gets a sack. And then there's a couple times where T-Lander's right in there for the sack. But you see true freshmen in their first spring game already shooting their guns. And when I'm saying snapping people's necks, they're coming in, and that offensive player's coming in to block them, and that head's getting cocked back because somebody's coming in and hitting that hammer to the nail. It was not easy.
That's what you want out of your linebackers. You want them to be the hammer, not the nail. So
right.
When you see other people's heads snapping back, they're doing a good job.
Yeah. Then that same play too, Amari McNeil caught my eye a couple times. I don't know what the hell Jackson Lampley's doing. Guy's been over on the campus for like multiple years. Just never, I guess, going to be able to help. But Amari McNeil did a push-pull on him, which was silly. And Omar Norman Lott, since we're talking some D-line stuff, he was kind of looking like some Jarrell Casey for my, Tennessee Titans. Not necessarily the biggest, but that boy's got some quick feet, quick hands, and he is pretty powerful. I know you've thought some different things about Omar Norman Lott. Did you see some of the stuff that I saw, or what did you think?
I didn't necessarily see some of that stuff. I really struggled watching some of the defensive guys. I felt like I didn't know who was who.
98. He was 98, and I think he had 2 TFLs, but you're going to like him once you get to see him a little bit more. Matter of fact, when we go to fall camp, I want you to maybe go watch him a little bit more intently.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I'll definitely put him on my list. I don't know. Should we move into Nico? Should we talk about Nico?
We would. Let me go ahead, and we'll be quick because we're at the 43-minute mark. We talked a lot of BS at the beginning. My apologies. I'm gonna just go through and hit my notes of stuff that impressed me. Then we'll finish with Nico. Okay. And jump in if you want, but I'll just kind of read through these. Super impressed with John Slaughter's open field tackle against Deshaun Bishop. It was a 10-yard gain by the offense, but people need to understand as a true freshman at safety, and I know there was some talk about him. I wasn't as high on him when I watch his highlight tape, but seeing him in person now and watching him, I love his swag. I love how fluid he is. But I'm telling you, from someone who has attempted to do it multiple times, when you're safety and you see that running back popping through the line, whether it's inside or whether it's outside, and you're like, there's 100,000 people about to see me make this tackle or not. He looked so effortlessly coming up. He didn't have to break down because it was almost that I'm not going to say Eric Berry style tackle because Eric's in a whole different league of his own, but it was the tackle that, like, you understand good defenders play at a different speed.
Yeah.
So instead of someone that's like coming up, kind of breaks down and then makes a decent tackle, this is someone that is that hammer to the nail of like, you can kind of fly up, slow down a little bit, and make it. I was just super impressed with that play by John Slaughter on Deshaun.
As a defender, you can almost force your way into the tackle.
Yes,
you force the running backs to say you have to cut left because of where I'm at.
Exactly. That's one thing that I remember talking with my dad when I was younger, because I was always, I always was taught to break down, and I felt like I was a pretty damn good tackler. That was maybe one of my strong suits of something. And you would watch these guys who were just great. And I'm like, how do they, like, they're not breaking down, and it's all about dictating. Are you going to let the running back or the receiver dictate to you in the open field? Or like you said, are you just going to, you basically get there so quick, he doesn't know what he can do. And so I'm glad you mentioned that. It's you kind of dictating to them. Then you come back, and it's 2 plays later. John Slaughter's back at safety. The slot tight end kind of comes in bananas, and he sits on it. So then, therefore, the quarterback, whoever it was, has to throw deep, and John's quick enough and fast enough to get back. The outside guy was miscommunication. He stopped on a hitch instead of the go, but the corner was there, and John got there. And I was like, okay. In 3 plays, I see him make a great open field tackle. The next one 2 plays later, I see him take away the tight end, kind of seam, banana, and then get deep. So that was nice. Castle needs to make the catch on the slant. They worked Castle a lot. I was fine with what I saw with him besides that one that hit his hands when they're running him in that Princeton fan slot tight end. You got to make those catches, and I think he will.
And I think they were definitely like, Jacob, get out.
Yeah.
We don't need you in there. Castle, you're getting reps today. Let's see what you got.
And another tight end, I don't know if Solomon, number 89, has been around the program for a hot minute. He had the touchdown. He had a nice move. I know. Once again, this is just me getting frustrated, but I'm listening to the Sports Animals. I'm driving in, and this afternoon they're talking about who you thought looked the best, and they're saying Deshaun Bishop looked great, and then they're saying Cam Miller looked really good. He had 6 tackles and an interception. It's like, those might be right, but none of those tackles were really impressive. The interception, sure, great play. I mean, you're there, but it was nothing that really popped for me. And that's where I'm thinking, okay, maybe someone's reading a stat line. Someone maybe was watching it in and out, but they didn't go back and rewatch it because Miller gets absolutely cooked by the tight end. And I was so happy that they showed it from the back end zone view. And I had a coach teach me one time, don't look here and don't look here, because you're going to, if someone, you're going to go, always watch the hips, because the hips can't fake. And Cameron Miller gets kind of worked. And that's one of those guys that's, okay, you came in, you've been in the program for 2 years. Those are the plays that you have to make if you are going to break someone's, starting lineup or playing time, because you got a lot of true freshman DBs that are coming in. You got some other transfer guys. So that was something that I saw.
It's not like a 5th-year starter did it to you. Right.
And that's just those points. I'm just pointing out different people that I saw, whether it was good or bad. Nice play again by when I saw triple or double J, Joshua Joseph, Elijah Herring, and Aaron Carter on the field together. I thought in one play they did a great job with block shedding, flow, block take on. All 3 of them looked like they were just some dogs getting to a bone, and it was nice to see. Nice blitz by Aaron Carter, I already mentioned. It was a sack that he got, and he kind of ate up Dylan Sampson. Castle with a nice catch, and upfield, nice block by Caleb. It was a 6-7 yard, nice play by both of them. We've already talked about the 3rd and 3, 5 wide. Okay. if you go back and watch this, I know you're going to love this. And this is a good point. This is a good teaching point. It's second quarter. It's second quarter. I think it's like 10:46, 10:47 mark. And it's where they throw it out. The guy's making an upfield play. And Jalen Smith, I thought it was Arian Carter at first. Jalen Smith, another freshman linebacker, shows great speed and great hustle to get to the outside.
Forces the fumble.
And forces the fumble.
Yeah.
That part looks great. I'm going to tell you what part didn't look good if I'm watching this from the eye in the sky. James Pierce was the defensive end. He did not blitz. It was like he came off the edge, and I don't know if they were going to put him – he didn't come off the edge. He dropped back, and I don't know if he was supposed to drop in a certain zone or whatever. He sees the play the same time.
Yeah, I literally pulled it up on my phone.
Did you just watch it?
Yeah.
It's brutal. Like,
brutal.
Jalen Smith is a true freshman. He's been here on campus for 3 meals and 2 sleeps, and he's already that's not winning football. And that's James Pierce. I'm not beating him up. There were some other times where I thought he flashed athletically. You're not going to get on the field when a true freshman linebacker, like I said, who's been here for 3 meals and 2 naps on campus, is beating you to the ball. And what do we always say? When you run to the ball, good things happen. Your teammate just made a tackle and a fumble. If Christian Charles is not there, that ball's on the ground. James, are you not going to get to it?
He didn't take off.
He's going to get roasted in by a coach on saying, what kind of fucking effort is this?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not winning football effort.
Coach, I don't know, because he's the hybrid. I don't know if he's going to be in the linebacker or the defensive ends spot. But if he's with Gardner, oh boy, dude, it's going to rip you a new one. Talk about loafing.
I don't, as a coach, if I was coaching, I don't need to yell and scream and stuff like that. I'm just going to be upfront and honest, but I'm going to be sitting in there and I'm going to be clicking. I'm saying, hey, we're talking this play. And I'm going to say, Jalen, that's a hell of a job, son. This is going to get you on the field. This type of effort, this type of hustle, this type of play is going to get you on the field. You're going to be a hell of a player doing stuff like this. And I'm going to look at James. I'm going to say, James, he's been here a year less than you have. Are you wanting to get on the field? Are you wanting to play? Because this ain't it. This is not how we're going to play at Tennessee, and this is not where you're going to get where you want to be personally. And that's all you have to say in front of his
peers.
His team. Yeah, his peers, his group. Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. I would recommend some people go watch that.
Yeah, definitely.
Second quarter, 5:44 mark. What'd you say?
No, keep going.
The phone just kind of cutting out. You said definitely what?
No, just keep going. You're good.
Okay, so we've already talked about the second quarter, 5:44 mark. That was the bad communication. That was a hell of a throw by Joe. Maybe my favorite throw of the day. T. Linder snapping heads back again. I have on here. Okay, everyone's been talking. We love Ethan Davis. We pointed him out at practice. We thought that he might not be playing. He did play. He played very well. Besides his catches that he made, I thought he actually did a damn good job blocking. If you were kind of like, hey, where are we at on this? If you want to go back and watch some of it, when he was in, he did a nice job at the H-back blocking. And this is going to sound silly. Obviously, the catch that he made was great. My favorite thing that I saw him do, and this is not a knock on Jacob, and this is not a knock on Prince Vant, Ethan caught like a 3-yard out route, and he didn't just take himself out of bounds and kind of give himself up. He literally looked upfield and was trying to grab that flyer coming in and trying to shove him out of bounds. Now, he stepped out of bounds. That's the shit that's taking you from good tight end, good college tight end to elite. When you are thinking in your head, and Jacob Warren's talked about that, like, I want to be better in the open field with a part of my game. This kid's, on campus, 3 meals and 2 shits, and he's out here, and you can already see it in him. He's like, yo, I don't want to catch it for 3 yards and run out of bounds. I'm trying to throw somebody Derrick Henry style, and I want more yards.
I think Ethan has that skill set more than some tight ends do.
Yes.
Where he can make a guy miss.
Yes. Nice pull and block by John Campbell. Great cut by Deshaun Bishop. on this was the play right before Nico to Ethan, and it was a great cut by Deshaun Bishop on Arian Carter. I think it was either Arian Carter or Jalen Smith. So little freshman on freshman crime. Tyree West is a guy that he was fantastic last year. You and I didn't really see much out of him. The practice that we were there, we were fine. It was good to say, hey, guys, don't forget about me. I played as a true freshman. I got a TFL here. And then I've already talked about Cam putting on the burners. And then my last note was just about Omar Norman Lott. I wanted to give him a shout out because I was happy with some of the things that I saw him do. So that's really where I was. We've been going for about 55 minutes. Go ahead, hit me with your Nico stuff, and then we'll go from there. And then
Nico played well. He played better. I think he played better than I expected a freshman to play. And you can see the ceiling. You can see how great he can be with the throws he was making, with some of the moves he was doing, his ability to use his legs. I mean, that throw on the sideline to Ethan Davis, the most impressive part about that is the amount of touch he's able to put on it while still running. That's ridiculous.
That's just the God-given stuff of accuracy and placement. You can't teach that stuff. We're hearing a lot about it right now because of the NFL draft and Will Levis and Anthony Richardson and all that different stuff. You can't teach that stuff. Here's my thing, Kyler, and this is not a overreaction, and this is not a knock because I've said this stuff before. That's even a throw. Joe Milton's, I don't think, is making that throw. And if he is, I don't think it would be as consistent as Nico could. Because Joe has great arm talent. We're talking about just sheer power and strength and how deep he can throw it and how he can put one on a rope. But that throw with that touch and that placement, I don't see Hendon Hooker making that throw either. Now, people can please hit me in the comments. I think back and watch highlights of Hendon. I don't remember Hendon having something where he's rolling to his right, throwing it on the run, and it is position A, because that was Will Brooks. I think he's a walk-on, or I don't know if they've given him a scholarship now, but he's been around the program a lot. And I've mentioned every time I'm at practice, I think he has a good practice. Like, he's one of those guys that's a good practice player, giving reps to other people, but he has damn good coverage on Ethan. And it's high, it's up and away, it's on the outside. I mean, you can't teach that stuff. And once again, this is what I said a year or so ago. Even with how good Hendon was, even with the stats that he put up, that's the difference between Nico and Hendon. That's a play that is God-given. That is why he's a 5-star and wasn't a 3-star and went to Virginia Tech. Do you get what I'm saying? Don't take this the wrong way. This is not a knock on Hendon. He had a great year. But he's not making – in my mind, I can't remember a time where he's made a throw like that.
It's Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. Tom Brady's great. He's one of the greatest. He's the best leader I've ever seen on a football field. He can figure out defenses like crazy, but he can't make the physical throws that Patrick Mahomes can make. He can't throw it 40 yards downfield horizontally in the air like Patrick Mahomes did, 2 Super Bowls ago versus Tampa. But he's still great. And it's like, Joe might not be able to make that throw that Nico can physically do, but there's other attributes that he has.
And you know what? The best thing that's a great point, is there's multiple ways to skin a cat. So I'm not knocking. If you get the guy the ball, that's all we care about. And you never know. I mean, fast forward a couple years, and maybe Nico's not as good as Hendon's numbers because he's maybe not as good as a decision maker. That's fine. I've just always said, so far the first 2 years, I've thought the results of the quarterback have been because of Heupel, and I've always said, wait till he gets an absolute dog talent-wise back there. As long as the decision-making is there with the talent, that's where I'm like, this could be deadly with Coach Hype. Deadly.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. This made me even more excited for Nico in the future. It did not make me think Nico is taking Joe's spot now. It was just like, ooh, like, look what he can be.
Right.
Cannot wait.
Right. I don't know, to tell me if it's overreacting, but I'm still not necessarily going to be surprised if Nico ends up playing some, whether it is because of injury or because if Joe's just not. I think it's more about Joe than it is Nico with me.
Yeah.
Am I going to get Joe of a Vandy game or of the Pitt game where he lost his job or the Bowling Green game, which is the very first Heupel game? Is it going to be some of these throws or is it going to be Orange Bowl Joe? Orange Bowl Joe, we're going to win a lot of games, but we know that Coach Heupel is not going to leave someone in there that is not making the routine decisions and throws that you have to make this offense run. And so like I said, besides that throw to Nico or that throw to Ethan Davis, like I said, I also love the 3rd and 3 of the here it is quick. I thought you made a great point. I know it's not live, but there was a couple times where Nico worked his way up in the pocket and there was that one, I think it was Cam Seldon again, and he worked his way up in the pocket and kind of almost jumped and threw it, and it was a completed pass, but I think they'd blown it dead for maybe a sack. But whoever caught it, Cam Seldon or another running back caught it. Just the way he moves and that quick trigger and things like that, I was probably a little bit more impressed than I thought, because I think our expectations were different than other people's, and so that would be why other people are like, yeah, it's fine, but we're like, that's not bad with a lot of the little things he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. And those little things are more impressive than, say, throwing to an open receiver and getting a big touchdown, because we can see the side of it where it's like, well, that's the play.
Right.
That's the defense messing up or whatever, other factors go into it. But still, great orange and white game. It was awesome to actually see those guys. Sucks that we have to wait for a few more months to watch football again. But super excited for this season.
I am too. It'll go quick. Time flies. We'll have some other good stuff. We have some exciting stuff that we'll do for the pod that I think people will enjoy. I hope people listen to this one. I think we gave out some really good stuff from other stuff that I haven't personally heard since the game ended, whether it was reading articles or hearing some of the talking heads. Great pod, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. I'll see you.
See ya.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. We absolutely love the comments. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download, and follow us on all those platforms that you might be listening. Also follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon on Twitter, at Pancakes and Bacon _RTI on Instagram, and then at rbacon26 for Reed, at Kyler Curbison for myself on all social medias. Really appreciate you guys. And don't forget to check out RTI.com. You can find everything Tennessee there, every little news detail, every little stat that you might want to look up. Great articles on there, so make sure and check that out. But yeah, just really appreciate you guys so much for watching. As always, go Vols.